Hey, real quick, everybody. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. I just want to go over a couple of current events real quick. And one of them having to do with this young lady up in Michigan who left her children in I guess an apartment condo since somewhere between 20 and 2021. So at least close to 5 years. And they were all living there by themselves. They were three of them, young kids. I don't know exactly what's going on in America today, but I will definitely say this. This particular story, and then last week, the story of the children who froze to death in the van. And then couple of months ago, there was a story of some children who were sleeping on the front porch. All of these occurred in the state of Michigan. And this is nothing against people that live in Michigan, but I know how cold it is up there because I grew up north, even though I live in the southern part of the United States now. Um, I don't know what's going on in Michigan. All I can say is, and this is not just for the state of Michigan, this is for everybody. Check on your peoples, okay? Because some of this stuff should never have happened. I'm not blaming the mothers. I'm not blaming the fathers. All I'm saying is if you're a grandmother, a auntie, a brother, sister, a dad, a mom, and you haven't seen your relative in a while, go knock on the door, put eyes on them. Because there's no reason that children have lived in an apartment between 4 and 5 years, did not attend school, nobody physically seen them, and people are okay with it. And every time you asked the mom where they were at, she made up another excuse about being at this babysitter and that babysitter. And I'm saying this allegedly and in my opinion and for entertainment purposes only, but I did watch the live press conference from the sheriff of that particular county. And the family members, they don't want to no parts in it. They don't want to do interviews. I understand. They probably getting their phones blown up and people banging on their door. But according to them, they would ask where she was at, where the kids were at. Don't ask anymore, people. Go put hands on them. If that's your grandson, your granddaughter, your niece, whatever, and you keep showing up without them, say, hey, next time you come over, bring the kids. I need to see them. And if she gives you an excuse every time you ask that question, then get in a car and drive over to where they live. Knock on the door and say, hey, if you don't bring these children by me, especially if you're the grandparents or the aunt, if I don't see these children, I'm calling the police. I need to see them. Because according to the news outlet, and you see the photos, I'm not going to get too deep, hair matted, they didn't know basic hygiene, brushing their teeth. We could have had toothaches, anything going on there. And she comes in there and sits food on the front porch and leave. You couldn't even go in there at the minimum and straighten the place up a little bit and then left. You let them kids live in filth like that. That house was so nasty you didn't want to go in it, but you thought it was okay for your kids to be in there. I'm going to say this. It is okay to be a Karen every now and then. It don't hurt. If you got to be a Karen, then be a Karen. Be nosy. I don't know how the neighbors didn't smell something. And I can understand if the neighbors say, hey, it's a quiet neighborhood. We mind our business. We go to work. We do whatever. But you talking 5 years. They said allegedly she dropped some Febreze and some trash bags off in 2020 during COVID. Mind you, it is February 2025. She pulled them out of their previous schools, never enrolled them in another school. Their toenails were so long they didn't. It's just ridiculous. They were nasty, filthy, matted hair. The plumbing was terrible. It was ridiculous. And the only reason she got caught is because for whatever reason, whatever happened, she did not have enough money to continue to pay rent. And the landlord called a health and welfare check. And y'all keep in mind, a landlord is not coming to your apartment unless you call for some maintenance type thing. As long as you're paying the rent on time and bills are caught up, he's not bothering you. So don't blame a landlord for not checking. She must have been paying that rent on time for the last 4 or 5 years for him not to have a concern to go knock on the door. And the real question is, she was still living in the city somewhere else. If you see the pictures of her on her Facebook, she was looking good. And on Valentine's Day, there's a photo where she was allegedly had a food drive. But your children are starving? So now we go back to what would make a woman do that to her child, and why would she do that? So there's only two options I come with. Either she didn't want the kids, or she found somebody who probably didn't want the kids. Wanted her, but not her children. Never date a person like that. They talked to the dad. The dad allegedly said he had been trying to see the children. She was fighting with him. I guess they had went to court, got some kind of custody visitation thing into play in 2022. She still would not abide by it. She still would not allow him to see the kids, and he kind of gave up, threw in the towel. Lesson learned, ladies. Stop fighting and arguing with these men about their children. Don't hold people's children as pawns against them or anything like that. Let them participate in the child's life. Because the same thing with the other children who froze to death in the van, God rest their soul. The father, I don't know. He said he hadn't talked to his children in 2 months. He FaceTimed. He hadn't seen them in 2 months, but he FaceTimes them. There's no way you should go 2 months without seeing your children, your seed, your DNA, the person you brought into this world. And y'all in the same state, city, nearby. Now, it's one thing if you live in New York, they live in California, yeah, some time may go by. But if you live in that vicinity, you should be seeing your children regularly. I don't care if you get along with the mother or not. And that's for the fathers. And mothers, same thing. Let them kids go stay with their fathers if you can't afford them. At the minimum, if the father's not around or in jail or just a deadbeat, then take them children to a family member's house and try to get some help. I understand some people say, hey, I don't have room for all of y'all. I get it. That's what the young lady said that was in the van. She tried to get help, and my heart poured out for her because nobody would help her. Check on your people. It's okay to be a Karen every now and then when it comes to life, death, and family, especially children. Okay? This should never have happened. Neither of these cases should have happened. And again, if you can't find anybody in the family, if you cannot, if the fathers don't want to be present, or the aunts or the mothers, whatever the case may be, and it's overwhelming to you, then there's always an option to take them down there to CPS or something. You can always get your children back when you get it back on your feet. But never in any circumstances are you to leave children in an apartment for 5 years. And I'm not saying she did it for a man. I'm not saying, I don't know what she was doing. She could have been strung out. She could have been living a lifestyle. I don't know. But for whatever reason, the kids were not part of the equation. And if you wasn't going to leave them with a family member or a relative or the dad, then you should have took them somewhere else. But standing up there in that apartment for 5 years, you think about it. The oldest child was 15 when they found him today. So he had to be 10. That means everybody, the other two were under the age of 10. It was a 15-year-old, I think a 13-year-old, and maybe a 10-year-old. You deduct 5 from all of them. So one was 5, one was 8, and one was 10. And she took off and left from there and would put food on the stoop, once a week for them. Who's there teaching them how to comb their hair, how to groom themselves, how to take a bath, how to brush their teeth? Who? This is so freaking disgusting. But the thing is, it never ceases to amaze me in this country. It's like every day you wake up and you just like, you've seen one thing, can't get any worse, and it gets worse. At this point, people, check on your people. I know big mamas and them ain't around no more. The whole family dynamics has changed since, Generation X grew up where you all got together. But think of how many Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Labor Day, birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, where family usually gather together. How many of those passed and these children didn't attend any, and nobody questioned and say, hey, Susie, where are the kids at? Why didn't you bring them over for the birthday party, or bring them over for Christmas, or bring them over for Thanksgiving, Easter Sunday, invite them to church? Nobody in the family. And I'm not knocking the family because they didn't really get into the family dynamics too deep, but she did have family there. Nobody in the family wondered where the children were. That's just strange to me. All right, I'm going to leave that alone because I can go on and on about that. God rest those children. Take care of them. The sheriff, the people in that town, thank you for donating as much as you can. They got, I guess, online donations. The sheriff is going to help set up a trust fund. I wish those kids the best in life. I really do. I really do. And I hope their mother, for whatever reason, get whatever vengeance God has in store for her. And I'll leave it at that. Next up is my girl Elijah Robinson. I did a couple days ago. I just did a video about, she disappeared somewhere in Dubai. We was hoping she was safe, and then it came out. Some rumor control came out about her that she was on a plane, and some authorities got on the plane in Dubai. She was getting ready to leave, boarded the plane. They got on the plane and took her off the plane, and nobody had seen her since Wednesday. I think last Wednesday. But when she got off that plane in Dubai, they should have never let her off. It was a layover. She got off. She wandered off into the city. She was smoking cigarettes, talking loud, and all that other stuff. And I knew everybody knows that ain't going down in Dubai. When that girl got arrested for raising her voice at the rental car place, the young lady from Houston who was a trucker, that should have been a red flag for everyone. When you go over there, be polite and have a man walking with you at all times, or at least be in a group and be nice to people. They knew that girl had an issue. She should have had an escort with her all the way home. I don't know why the family couldn't. I don't know her family dynamics. They said she had kids in the States. I don't know why somebody didn't gather up enough money or donations to fly over there and escort her home all the way home. To put that lady on a plane who you knew wasn't in her right spirit, in her right mind, and allow her to fly back by herself, I think was a mistake. And in my video, I said, God, please take care of this girl. We need her back here in one piece. As I stated before, I did a YouTube short, like it was kind of funny at first, but as time went on, I said, this girl's going to be in some type of danger if she lands in Dubai. And Lord knows she landed in Dubai, and allegedly she's in jail facing 5 years. They do not play over there. Now the family is going to be on the news, just my opinion, allegedly, and they're probably going to be trying to get the embassy involved. The embassy should have been involved a long time ago. It should have already been things in motion to get her back here safely with an escort the minute she started, as y'all say, going viral on TikTok and Instagram. Somebody should have been out there trying to get this woman back home. That's all I'm saying. So that is my rant for the day. Do better, people. Check on your people. It is so much stuff going on right now in this country. We all know what's happening. People are losing it. They're losing jobs. They're going to work, getting termination slips. They still got mortgages and houses and college tuitions and private care schools, and their kids playing private basketball leagues and football leagues and car payments and all of that, life insurance, health insurance. All of that still goes on. Regardless of whether they tell you fired today or tomorrow, life doesn't stop. And now I got to go out here and compete with everybody else that got fired for these jobs. It's not getting any better. So all I'm saying is check on your people. And if they need a little assistance, try your best to help them out, because it could be worse. And we don't know what this world is going to come to, and we don't know what direction this country is going in. But it's going to be a lot more of people struggling, fighting, and trying to get their life back on track. Elections have consequences, and that's all I'm going to say. All right, we all in this together. Ain't nobody. I'm be struggling just like the rest of y'all. We all in this together. All right. Please, God, pray for that Onaja lady to get home. Pray for them young kids who had to endure that for 5 years, and let God take care of whoever has harmed them. Whatever's going to happen to her mother, that is in God's hand. And this is Generation X Nation out. You guys have a great rest of your day and stay warm.